everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel with literally the craziest update. I'm pregnant. Oh, if you can hear this keeps happening. This literally keeps happening. If you can hear the washing machine in the background, all I can do is apologise. The sun is setting and I need to get this video filmed for you guys. So I've come and sat on the floor in the living room in hopes that we can drown out some of the noise. But if you hear it, that's what it is. And I'm so sorry, but it just is what it is. Now, today's video is basically going to be a little bit of a Q&A. I did actually put a Q&A box up on my Instagram the other day. Got some questions. Am I central? Yeah, got some questions. And some of them I was like, oh, that's a personal question. But I thought, you know what? I'll actually answer it in the video on YouTube rather than on Instagram, because there's something about Instagram that just feels a little bit personal. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people who follow me on Instagram that wouldn't watch my YouTube, and the people who wouldn't watch my YouTube are probably the people I don't really want to hear about some of the stuff, you know. But I thought YouTube is a little bit more personal, and I also want to put this up because just so you guys know what my content pillars are looking like, TikTok and YouTube is really a space where I feel quite safe sharing a lot about the personal side of my pregnancy journey. There's been a lot of crazy stuff happen in the first trimester, and I kind of just want to touch on it because I do wish I had some more support, I guess. Like, not support, but like more people talk about it a little bit more freely. And yeah, I feel like I want to share my journey with other women who are pregnant, and also just those of you who might be thinking about getting pregnant. You might be way off, but you could maybe come back to this video in a few years' time, and it might provide like a source of information for you guys. And if you care about my journey, you might just want to watch it anyway. I'm so nosy. Like, any of the people that I follow on Instagram, if they get pregnant, trust me, I want to know every detail. So I thought I would share my story, share my journey, and also answer my questions. So half of the video will be me answering all the questions that I got over on Instagram, and then half of the video will be a first trimester vlog, basically just going through any clips and snippets that I did film. I'll be honest, there's not a lot, and the bits that I do get are quite raw and quite emotional, very vulnerable to share, but also I think really important to share. Start off with a little bit of background just so you guys know where we're at. So I am currently 12 weeks and 2 days pregnant. Now, I don't know, before I got pregnant, I didn't really know like how the whole thing worked, you know. And actually, you download this little app when you get pregnant. It's called Pregnancy Plus. This is my baby, and they are currently 12 weeks and 2 days. So you literally are by the day when you're pregnant. Like, it is literally, like, someone says, how many weeks pregnant are you? Like 12 plus 2. 12 plus 2. Okay, because the extra 2 days count. So yeah, you basically go off that, and this is an app called Pregnancy Plus. So when you do get pregnant, do download this. It's so interesting. You literally can see everything about like what is actually going on with your baby that week, like where they're at, what they're up to, and it will give you like information on, you get like an update every single week, and it will basically tell you like what's going on with the baby that week, their weight, their length, etc, etc. It's really informative actually, and I think it's nice, especially when it's your first time. You don't really know what's going on in there, so it's quite nice to have a little bit of information and get these updates. Me and Josh, literally, the minute we get a new week update through, we're like, right, everyone sit down and let's read the update and let's go through it. So yeah, we've been really loving it as like our first time parent vibe. I just need to get my water. It is actually like race week, you know, like, you literally, do you know what I mean? I literally just walk 3 steps, I'm out of breath. But you have to drink 3 litres of water a day when you're pregnant. Although the literally water is making me feel sick, we'll get into that. But you have to be like really on it with a lot of stuff. So yeah, I am drinking a lot of water, literally the same as I would do for a race week. And yeah, I'm just trying to survive out here, guys. But yeah, 12 weeks, 2 days pregnant, living my life right now. So I thought I would just go in with the questions that I got asked, and I'm going to try and do them in some form of like chronological order. I do want to say a trigger warning at the start of this video. I will be talking about bleeding during pregnancy and pregnancy loss. And I'm also going to be talking about, I don't really want to say my TTC journey, because it really wasn't a journey, which we will get into in a moment. But obviously we will be talking about the process of getting pregnant, how long it's taken, etc, etc, etc. And I know that can sometimes be a little bit of a sensitive topic for people, and I really don't want to upset anyone or anyone to be upset by what I'm saying. So if you don't want to hear about any of those things, obviously this is not going to be the video for you, which is completely fine, and I completely understand. I hope that you are okay, and I will see you on my next videos where I will be documenting more of my pregnancy journey, so make sure to subscribe. But yeah, let's go into it. So one of the first questions I got asked, guys, honestly, people don't hold back. Like, people don't hold back. Like, I don't know why. Like, I obviously have a platform. I don't think it's like a very big platform in the grand scheme of things, but people will just be like, were you trying? How long did it take? And I'm like, please, my brother follows me on Instagram, you know? So yeah, I thought I would actually go through it over on here instead. So question number 1, how long did it take for you to get pregnant? Someone else has asked, were you trying, or was this completely unexpected? If trying, how long for? So for context, me and Josh have been together for nearly 5 years. We've lived together for 4 years, and we are literally each other's best friend. Like, we have the best time. And Josh is a little bit older. I've always been a little bit more old-minded. And to be honest, the conversation has always been really open in our entire relationship. Like, our whole relationship, we've always spoken about wanting to start a family, and it wasn't the right time. Like, we had our party phases, which it definitely wasn't the right time then, trust me. And obviously now it's not necessarily that it was like the right time, but it just was like, well, if it happens, it happens. Like, we're in a financial position where we can have a baby. Sorry about the washing machine. We're in a financial position where we can have a baby. We have a house. We love each other. Like, why would we not want to bring a baby into that love and into that situation? So basically we made the decision that I would come off my contraception last year, and I actually came off my copper coil on December 9th. Now, the reason that I did this was, obviously we'd had that discussion. If it happens, it happens. But I was also starting to get concerned with my period and my cycle. Now, I have actually never been anyone who tracks. I used to have really, really heavy periods back when I was, sorry, there's a fly. I used to have really heavy periods back when I was younger, and basically they definitely got lighter, and I didn't know whether it was to do with my high rocks training. Obviously, if you guys have been following me for a while, you will know that I have been doing a lot of high rocks training. Last year was a really, really intense training year for me, and my periods were getting quite intermittent. So they were starting and then they were stopping and then they were starting again, and they were very, very light. It maybe only last 3 days in total. So I kind of came off it with the idea of, I think there might potentially be an issue here. I want to come off and start tracking my cycle. And December was just like a completely normal month. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of parties, and we just weren't really, essentially as it sounds, we weren't like actively trying. And then I basically got a positive pregnancy test in January. And the reason that I tested was because my Flow app basically said that I could. And I was just like, oh, I'll do a test today, like whatever. Got a really, really faint line, but to the point where, you know, like your eyes are seeing things. Like, it wasn't a thing. And then a couple of days later, I basically woke up at 5 a.m. with this urge to just test. And a line came up. Still quite faint, but definitely darker than the previous day. And then did a digital, and it came back pregnant. And yeah, it was really, really lovely. And I feel really blessed that it was an easy process for us to get pregnant this time round. I am so aware of how fortunate I am to be in this situation. And it's something that I felt very like uneasy talking about, because I know that it's not like this for everybody. So I just really want to like put that out there, that I know I'm very lucky to be in this situation, and I am very, very grateful and very, very blessed to be pregnant and for it to have happened the way that it did for us. So the next question was about how was trimester 1, what was the first trimester like. It was the lowdown on trimester 1. And I actually did do like a pregnancy journal when I got pregnant. I was like, I'm gonna start just like writing in my notes how I feel, and it kind of stopped towards the end of Feb because of an issue that happened, which I'm going to go into. So trigger warning, this is when we're now talking about bleeding during pregnancy. So to go through my symptoms at first, I remember over Christmas, at the back end of Christmas, so between Christmas and New Year, I remember getting ready to go in the shower and Josh looked at me and he was like, you look so different. And I was like, yeah, I do look different. And I just remember looking like really bloated. I don't know how to explain it, but you look at your own body and you know that your body is different. And I was like, that's weird. Obviously didn't think anything of it. I was literally maybe 2-3 days post-ovulation. So you're not really pregnant at that point. There's nothing really going on. But I had really bad cramping, and this is disgusting, but I did have like constipation, which is not normal for me, let me tell you. So yeah, there was a couple of like weird things going on, but honestly, with the way that it like tuned in with Christmas, I kind of thought, I've ate like shit, I've been drinking, I'm completely out of my normal fitness routine. So there's a lot of other things that contribute towards this other than like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. So then it was New Year's Eve, my friend came round, we had Chinese, we had a couple of glasses of wine, and guys, I was sick. Now, I don't know whether it's just the food made me a bit ill, but I am not someone who throws up. Like if I've thrown up, I'm ill. Like I'm really, really, really ill, because I will do anything in my power to not be sick. So yeah, other than those two things before I obviously tested positive, I didn't really feel like there was any reason to test. I also put being sick down to everything else. So I just put it down to like having alcohol, having Chinese. I just didn't really think much of it. And then once I actually found out that I was pregnant, I did notice I had a lot of cramping in the first week, quite light cramping, but definitely cramping. I had really vivid dreams. I still do. Guys, I'm not even kidding you. I go to bed and it is like watching a cinema show. Like every single night is a cinematic masterpiece going on in my brain. My boobs, like no one can prepare you for the feeling of your boobs. Like I didn't even have boobs, right? Like it's more just like, I can't even explain it. They have grown a little bit, but the pain in the first few weeks, they're still a bit tender now. Like when I'm touching, it's still a little bit tender, but like the pain in the first few weeks, if Josh so much as like brushed past me, I would literally be in tears. Like it was so unbelievably painful. That was probably the worst thing for me. And then the other one has been food aversion. So I've not actually been sick apart from that time on New Year's Eve, but it has been like, I'll be halfway through a meal that I've eaten for the past 5 years, and suddenly I'm like, that tastes like shit. Like there's literally no in between. It is ridiculous. So yeah, there's been that as well. So that's been really frustrating, to be honest, because just like having to reshape my entire diet and change what I eat has just been annoying, because I'm such a creature of habit with my food. But the baby obviously doesn't like it, so you know, we're gonna get him on the protein notes in a few years' time. So yeah, that was it with symptoms really, guys. I basically have had a really turbulent first trimester, which has been in and out of scans the whole time. Some have been private, some have been NHS. And the reason for this is because I have actually developed something called it's called a subchronic hemorrhage. I think I'm saying that word right. I always seem to say it wrong. But it is basically a blood clot that you can get when you are pregnant. I don't really want to talk too much about like what it actually is. I'm not 100% clued up on it. I'm just obviously being told, and I think when you're being told something, when something is really scary, it's kind of like you're not really actually ingesting the information, you're just doing it as you're told. So yeah, I have developed something called a subchronic hemorrhage, which has just been really, really difficult to manage. And basically what that is bleeding. So what has been happening to me has been intermittent bleeding throughout my entire first trimester from week 6 onwards. I actually wrote down, I had So yeah, the 20th of Jan was my first bleed, and it was a red bleed, and I'd been at the gym. So I'd gone to the gym, not doing anything crazy, and I'd come home and gone to the toilet, and there was red blood there. And immediately I texted Josh, I was like, I'm having a miscarriage. This is like, what the hell? Because when you think of bleeding in pregnancy, all you're ever told about is a miscarriage. And it was really quite a difficult thing to like come to terms with, to be honest. Called up the early pregnancy unit, basically said, under 7 weeks, they won't see you. And you have to have bled for 6 days for them to see you anyway. So that first off, like, kind of confirmed that bleeding was quite normal in pregnancy, but also made it really hard because you do feel really, really isolated in your first 12 weeks. There's not really, and obviously I don't know what the support's going to be like going forward, but until you have your first midwife appointment, which is around 8 weeks, there's just nothing. Like, you find out you're pregnant, you call them up, they say, call us back and we'll call you, we'll like sort you out. It's just been a very, very much a process of like me being worried and calling, and then basically saying, there's nothing we can do, like, you need to wait. So the guidance was given to me that monitor the bleeding, and if you are going through pads, you need to go to A&E. That didn't happen, thankfully, and we basically booked in for a private scan. The private scan was, I've actually paid for like 3 of them at the moment. The private scan basically confirmed the baby was there, my cervix was intact, and that I obviously wasn't having a miscarriage, which was really, really helpful, but it's still, and she did also point out that I had blood clots, but it was still really confusing. She basically said it was implantation bleeding, which is really common and very normal. So that was good, and I thought, right, okay, well, there's potentially going to be this clot that comes out, and then I should be done. And there's an explanation for both. So a couple of days later, I was in the gym again. And I know I don't want people to be sat there thinking, why were you going to the gym when this was happening? Like, I was told I was still allowed to train. I was told that it was fine to carry on as normal because everything was normal. There was no risk to the baby. So I was in the gym, and all of a sudden I felt the blood clot that she'd spoke about come out, which was an awful experience to go through in the gym. But again, because I kind of had a reasoning for it, I was like, this is all right. Basically, for the remaining 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's just been like brown spotting, or it's been me going to the toilet and there just being literally a blood clot in the toilet and blood. Sorry, TMI. You can imagine it's been really, really scary. I've been into the NHS, where we had like more of a diagnosis of what was going on. I then had another private scan, so I was really worried. And then we had our 12-week scan, and everything is absolutely fine. They've also said like the blood clots there is a blood clot, but it's very small now, which is good. So it kind of means that the hemorrhage is actually healing itself, which is a good sign. But in terms of how the first trimester has actually been, it's just been very worrisome. I felt like I've not been allowed to get excited about it. And yeah, it's been really hard, which you will see throughout the video. I don't want to like hone too much in on it, but I also felt really alone when I was going through that, because I couldn't find much of women who had also gone through it. I also found myself having to like block hashtags, because for whatever reason my phone knew exactly what was going on. So I was like blocking hashtags to make sure that I wasn't seeing content of like pregnancy loss, because that was obviously really unhelpful at the time. So yeah, it's been like actually a really rough ride, to be honest, and fingers crossed, touch wood, we're getting through the worst of it and we're coming out on the other end. But I did just want to obviously clarify that if you are pregnant and you're experiencing any bleeding, you need to make sure that you're obviously consulting with your midwife, consulting with the early pregnancy unit, and making sure you are getting checked if needs be, because it's important, and it's your body and your baby. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was the hardest thing actually for me in the first trimester. Was I was worried about the baby, of course, but I was also really uncomfortable, and I was also like really struggling mentally, and there was just no like, we hear you, we get it. It was just, yeah, this is normal, don't worry about it unless you're soaking pads. And it was like, oh, like this doesn't feel normal though, you know? So yeah, that was like a little bit disheartening, but it just was what it was. And we are on week 12 now. The second trimester can, some people say from 12, some people say from 13, some people say from 14 weeks. So I'm going to say I'm still in the first trimester until I get to 14, just to be safe. But yeah, the lowdown was, it was a little bit intense. It was really nice, obviously, telling, like, it was really nice telling our family and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was just a weird few weeks, to be honest. And then the final one I will answer before going into the actual video. There's a lot about like how you will continue training and all of that sort of stuff. So I am actually currently doing my pre and postnatal qualification so that I can understand how to safely train. I'm nearly through that. So I have got a really good idea on how I can keep my fitness up. It's so important. This is why it's important to train before you get pregnant, because it's so important to be exercising when you are pregnant. It's been such a release for me mentally to be able to go to the gym and just have control over something and to move my body. Like, my body feels broken, and actually the gym really helps and just allows me to get movement in. On the days where I feel really fatigued as well, getting movement in really helps me to like re-energize. So movement is energy, and I think it's really important to like try and get yourself up and out. Obviously there are some people who do experience severe fatigue, but if you can, I think it's important to go out and keep your body moving. But the thing with pregnancy is if you didn't do it beforehand, you're very limited with what you could do during. So that's why it's really important to have a really good training regime as a woman. Like, it's so incredibly important to, like, when you go to the gym now, we're not just thinking about summer, we're actually thinking about like, how can we best prepare you for your future and what your body is going to potentially be going through in the future, you know? So yeah, training wise, obviously I'm not doing high rocks, I'm not training for high rocks, but I've obviously reduced the intensity massively. So I've just been doing strength training, a strength training program, made amendments where necessary. So like hip thrusts have gone in with like a dumbbell rather than a barbell. So little things like that have been what I've had to change really. But apart from that, it's all been, you know, pretty good. I've definitely been kinder to myself and let myself have days off if needed, but I feel better for training. I feel in a better space when I keep it up. So yeah, I think it's been really important, and I'm really looking forward to sharing and documenting more on my pregnancy and how I'm training throughout across my Instagram, my TikTok and my YouTube, because I want to show you guys that you can do these things. And yeah, I just do. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here because I'm going to let you guys get into the rest of the video. I don't know how like exciting it's going to be, but yeah, I'll let you guys enjoy, and make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me waffle on.
Hello everyone. I actually, to be honest, I don't know that I'm going to be posting this video, so if you're watching it, I guess I've succumbed to excitement and have decided to post this. I really enjoy creating content, so I wanted to create something about this, but I really don't want it to become my like brand. But I want, you know, this might just actually be like a video documentary, like for that I just keep for the family. But I might have decided to post it, which I probably will have. But it is currently the 14th of January 2025, and 3 days ago I actually found out that I am pregnant. Oh god, okay, stuff's really starting to kick in now. I came off all contraception a couple of months ago now, and it was kind of just a case of like, if it happens, it happens. I actually was having what I thought was a few issues with my period and my cycle because of my increased training. Turns out it wasn't so much of an issue. I feel extremely grateful. I'm currently 5 weeks and this is the first time I'm talking about it out loud. Only 5 weeks and 2 days, and I don't know if you can tell by my eyes, but I am absolutely exhausted as of today. It's such a weird feeling because you find out you're pregnant and you know, like, you see all these videos online of how you think you're going to find out you're pregnant and like how you're going to tell your partner and all of this. And I literally woke up on Saturday with, basically I'd tested on Thursday and Friday and I'd had a negative and a really faint line, which can be a false negative. Kind of thought to myself like, okay, whatever. And then I woke up on Saturday morning with this like overwhelming urge to test to see if I was pregnant, and a line came up straight away, like literally instantly. So I'd obviously just tested maybe too early before. And yeah, here I am pregnant and a week out from high rocks. I thought to myself, like, when you get pregnant, you would feel like you are pregnant. I'm literally crying this whole time. I thought you would feel like you're pregnant. Like I thought like something would change, and the only thing I have is like extreme bloating and the literally cramps quite often, which can be like a really scary time. So I do just feel a little anxious about it. I thought I would just like periodically like go through. I thought I'd do like a video diary of my symptoms. I feel like these videos are usually like really positive and I am so happy, but I'm just tired. And yeah, it's just like a lot. Like it's like a lot to get your head around. And for whatever reason, like when you find out you're pregnant, all of a sudden it's like your phone knows, and like all of my TikTok is just babies and women who have gone through like difficulties with their pregnancy and birth, and it's just like freaking me out a little bit. I want to make videos of this experience. Like I do want to document this experience. I just don't know how much of it I'm going to share. Like a lot of you guys are following me for high rocks, for fitness, and obviously that's all still going to be a massive part of my life, but this is going to be like a whole other side to it that I first off don't really know that anyone really cares about, but second off, like I'm not going to have my child online. So I don't really know what I'm going to show you. I won't even show you anything. This might be a video that doesn't even get put out, but yeah, I obviously will be sharing like parts and snippets of it, but I just don't want it, I just don't want it to be like my brand. Hello guys, you know, so I am 7 weeks, 2 days pregnant today. I have had the week from absolute hell. I first off feel like I need to clear up, because obviously some of what I'm posting online is, I mean, I'm not posting as much as I normally would anyway, but I've obviously gone online and spoke a lot about my ankle being an issue. I just don't know what to say to you guys right now. Like, I know that this is like a really big thing that's going on for me, and I don't for one instance think that you guys really track what I'm doing that much. But I obviously don't want to announce anything or say anything yet, especially with the week that we've had. And I really am just like really struggling, and I'm really trying to be positive for the baby, for myself, for Josh and everything. But it's really hard. I'm having a really rough time, and I just wanted to touch on it. I also wanted to clarify that the ankle situation is it's not a strict lie. I did hurt my ankle. I fell from here. So I was up the top of this ladder and I basically fell.
well, the ladder fell down and took me with it, and I landed here. Now, the reason that was, oh my God, look at the state of our sofa. The reason that was stressful initially was because the main reason it was stressful, which obviously I couldn't communicate to you guys, was that I was actually 5 weeks pregnant when it happened. And I was really, really stressed out. That the stress I was feeling because of my ankle, honestly feeling like I'd snapped my ankle. The fall itself, it doesn't look that high on camera, but I promise you it was really, really high. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify, I'm not outright lying. The main reason that I did pull out of High Rocks was because of what I'm going to talk about now. Again, still true though that my ankle wasn't 100% right. I also do have a little bit of an injury with my groin, but arguably I probably could have raced. I could have raced on them, to be honest. But I'm just obviously telling people I couldn't have raced, or I couldn't have put my best foot forward is my line, because of what basically happened after that. And I'm not going to cry. Anyway, so the Friday I had the fall, and on the Monday I actually experienced some bleeding. Now, the minute you hear bleeding in pregnancy, you just presume you're having a miscarriage because of everything that is going on and said to you. So I basically panic booked a early scan. So I would have been 6 weeks on that day, but I was 6 weeks on that day. Anyway, the bleeding that was fine, and they said it was basically just a blood clot. I'd obviously panicked, you know how it goes. And they also said that I did have another blood clot. Sorry, should I have done a trigger warning for this? Trigger warning. They also said I had another blood clot that would pass, and that did pass the Thursday before High Rocks when I was doing my interval training. So I had every intention of still competing pregnant. I've always sort of heard and been under the assumption that you can do what you were doing before you got pregnant. Maybe that was naive, I'm not sure. But on Thursday, when another bleed happened, I really went into full panic mode, and thought I just couldn't bear the thought of something happening on the Sunday when there was going to be obviously loads of people there watching. Being like in public and going through that is not nice. And that would have definitely affected my performance in the race, because I think I'd have just been, rightly so, far too conscious of anything going wrong. My conscience just would not have been able to handle like me doing a race that I could do next year, just because I wanted basically validation online. That's some real honesty about what's been going on there, but the bleeding hasn't stopped. I have still had intermittent bleeding with no cramping or nothing of that sort of ilk. And when I was at High Rocks, I bled even though I was only spectating. And it's just been, like I say, intermittent. I don't want to obviously label each time to you. Now, obviously, every time you look this up, it's going to tell you that you're having a miscarriage, or it's the start of a miscarriage or whatever. Now, I had a second scan last Thursday, and I was still scanning in at 6 weeks, but 6 weeks plus 3. So whereas the week before I'd been 6 weeks, I was now still 6 weeks plus 3, which they said can happen because the dating's not 100%. Dating doesn't go off date. Date goes off the baby's growth. But the baby had grown. So even though I'm bleeding, my baby had grown, and there went from being obviously no heartbeat where it was too early to a strong heartbeat of 120 beats per minute. Sorry, I don't even know why I'm crying. And yeah, I've just found it really, really challenging. I feel like I am no fun to be around at the moment, because I'm just so worried all the time. So anyway, I am 7 weeks plus 2 today, based off the previous date we were given. On Sunday, I was in hospital again. So obviously my other 2 checks for the bleeds had been private scans. Now, you can't actually, before 12 weeks, you really are you really struggle to actually get support from the hospital. So you have to have been bleeding for six days, or your bleeding has to fill 2 pads in 1 hour. So this is all the stuff that I didn't understand or know. So I'm calling up saying I've got bleeding, thinking they're going to get me to come in. And it's just monitor it at home, which was really, really hard. You dread going to the toilet, like everything. It's awful. So anyway, on Sunday I called because I bled again. I'd had like a day of no bleeding, or very, 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 very light brown. We'd also had the confirmation scan, everything was okay. Bled again on Sunday whilst we were out for a roast dinner, and I just had enough. So I called up the early pregnancy unit, and they did ask me to come in, and they took my bloods. They measured my HGC, which is your pregnancy hormone, which is in at 31,000. I don't know what it means, to be honest. And then they had me, they basically checked my cervix, and I have something called a cervical ectopy, which is basically a bit of like an erosion on your cervix. Now, every other symptom you get with pregnancy, like, it's disgusting, guys, by the way, basically is affecting the cervical ectopy, which is why I am bleeding. They did, however, want me in for a scan today, so I am going in for an official NHS scan today at 7+2, which I'm really looking forward to, just because I can't explain it. Like, you just feel like you need answers, like you need confirmation off a hospital that everything is okay. Go anywhere, I'm worried to wear leggings, I'm like everything, because I just don't know what to expect and when to expect it. So yeah, I've had a really, really tough week, 2 weeks, sorry, it's been 2 weeks because it was 2 weeks ago that I had my first bleed. So yeah, I've had a really, really tough 2 weeks, and I feel like I'm touching on it on social media, and obviously I'm not telling or painting a full picture at all. But yeah, pregnancy sucks. Oh, I am so relieved. First off, I just have to say, the midwives are incredible. Like, you are going through such a stressful and emotional time, and they are just so calming, so kind. But my baby is fine. Whoa! Which I did already know, but they did say that private scans, like, they can confirm a heartbeat, but they can't tell you if anything's wrong, which I knew because you have to sign a disclaimer saying that. But everything is completely fine. So my baby is 10.5 millimeters. They've seen the heart, like, pulsations, because that's what it is at this point. So there is a heartbeat, and there's only one, so that's good. And yeah, I feel really, really relieved. It's just been a really hard few weeks, and you know, when your body is bleeding anywhere, it's not nice. So for it to have been happening whilst, like, pregnant, it's just like, oh, what is going on? So anyway, I'm gonna go home and I can get on with some work. I was really worried that it was going to be bad news and I would have like an awful afternoon, but actually we're okay. I need some water, and yeah, I need to just do some stuff for me, because do some stuff for the business, because I've been really feeling not up to it, just because of how scary this time has been. So yeah, love that for me. Long time no speak. I think the last time I checked in with this vlog, I was maybe it was longer ago than that, maybe 8 weeks pregnant. I haven't really done as many first trimester updates as I thought I would. That's yours, ready. Because I don't know, babe, what's the last 4 weeks been like? They've just been pretty normal, haven't they?
Just flew over, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've been telling family. I didn't really record that either because it just felt quite unnatural. Any that I have got, I will put in. But we've just sort of been in the bubble of it. And to be honest, work's been so busy. I've just been trying to plough through. But today is our 12-week scan. Josh is not a YouTube boyfriend yet, but I'm actually only like 11 plus 4 right now, but you have your 12-week scan between 11 and 13 weeks, and we only know that I'm 11 plus 4 because I've already had a scan. So we know the size of the baby because it's done off the size, but the NHS see it as the date of my last period, which would make me 12 weeks. So baby was growing a little bit small. So yeah, bleeding stopped. You'll be happy to know. I'll do more of an update on that later on. All I can say is I'm out of breath all the time. But yeah, we're going to go to the hospital now, see the baby, and fingers crossed everything is a-okay. I just can't believe we're here. How do you feel, bub?
Excited.
Yeah?
Yeah, sunny outside.
It is the most gorgeous day in Manchester. Feels like summer today, doesn't it? Right, we actually really need to leave. We had our 12-week scan yesterday. We did do a little bit of an update in the car, but we were fucked after that, weren't we, really? No, Josh was in such a quiet mood yesterday, and I think it was just a lot though, wasn't it? Like, that 12-week, the past few weeks have been really hard with what's been going on.
Harder for you though.
But what's it felt like for you? Because I feel like that's an interesting perspective for dads out there.
Well, my glass is always half full.
Yeah, you are quite positive.
Until I hear some bad news, officially, I'll always think the worst.
Yeah, which works because I'm like a worst case scenario type of person.
You are a nightmare.
The thing is though, girls will get it. Like if you are going through that, like I think as well, one thing that's actually been really hard this past few weeks is, and I mean this, I'm really not being, like, my first priority has always been like the health of the baby and how the baby is, but people also forget, I'm not saying you've forgotten this, but like I was like so uncomfortable for weeks, like, and all you're caring about is like, is the baby healthy? But then you're also thinking, like, obviously I work as a personal trainer, I'm like, it's like I was like essentially in the middle of classes, like, this is so disgusting, but like passing blood clots, like in the middle of a class. And that was like really, really hard to like handle and actually deal with mentally and physically. And you don't hear, that's why I wanted to make this video anyway, because you don't hear about bleeding in pregnancy and the other things it can be. What was it like for you going into the scan yesterday as a dad?
Well, was that the 10th scan?
No, that was the 4th.
The 11th scan?
No, that was our 4th scan. We had 6 weeks on the dot. Oh, that's one of my mummy parcels. Why have I got 3 parcels for?
So yeah, I'm just waiting for the baby reveal, really. The gender reveal,
yeah.
Not baby reveal.
We're so excited for that. We can't stop talking about it, can we? Like
3-4 weeks.
Yeah. We're not telling anyone the actual date we're doing it because I think we just want to find out privately, don't we? And then...
Well, you thought it was a girl, but now we've seen the recent scan, you think it's more... Well, you're more sided to possibly a boy.
There's like skull theories, nub theories. Guys, I've got to be honest, I look at the scan, I don't know what it's saying. But this is our baby. Right there. How cute is that? I actually can't even do. It's so cute, isn't it? Who does it look more like? But probably you at the minute with the bald head.
Looks nice and chilled, doesn't he?
Yeah, just chilling out. Oh, guys, honestly, they were like, your baby is so, not at the scan yesterday, but the other one, they were like, your baby is so active. And I thought, listen, you don't understand the family that this one is being born into. Listen, there is a serious athlete in the making over here. But
I
yeah,
did say it looks like you've got Olympian in there, I think.
Yeah, they did. They did say that. Yeah. So yeah, we are so excited, aren't we? Now, I think the 12-week scan was a little bit more of like a holy shit, like we've actually made it through the first trimester, and like we've made it through like a really hard start, or a really worrying start.
Yeah. Didn't help that it was just January, February.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Worst time of the year to be going through something like that.
You can't go outside and go for nice summery walks or anything.
Like your only form of distraction is like the TV, and we've watched everything that we've wanted to watch ever in life. We'll keep you guys semi on the journey of this. I think I'm more just going to be vlogging my normal life, but obviously I'm going to be pregnant, so that's going to be an element of that. But let me know if you guys want to see baby content. I don't want to like film stuff that you guys don't want to see, but equally like this is a really exciting time for us.
Yeah, next 6 months. What's happening?
It's not even 6 months because they're due in September.
It's 6 months, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's already March, so March doesn't count, September doesn't count. So
God,
April, May, June, July, August, 5 months to go.
Whatever you say.
Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next video.